Welcome to episode 7 of About Our World. Today is our second species profile, the majestic monarch butterfly. The monarch butterfly, Danaus plexippus, is a butterfly, part of the Nymphalidae family. Butterflies, who belong to the order Lepidoptera, are a very beautiful and interesting group of insects. Monarch butterflies are known for their beautiful orange wings and their part in one of the most epic migrations in the animal kingdom. But we'll get back to that later. They are sexually dimorphic species. The females have thicker black veins on their wings, while the males have a dot on each wing. Butterflies can see in higher wavelengths than us in the form of ultraviolet light. This makes a flower look like this instead of this. Flowers have these ultraviolet signatures to attract pollinating insects. Monarch butterflies have their stunning orange not as an attraction, but as a warning. Monarch eggs are laid on milkweed, a toxic plant that is harmful to everything that tries to eat it. Everything except monarch caterpillars. This plant gives the caterpillars toxicity and turns them from green to white, black, and yellow as a warning sign. After their metamorphosis and exit from the pupa, they become their iconic orange, which is also a toxicity warning. Because this prevents monarch butterflies from being eaten, other butterflies, like the viceroy butterfly, mimic the monarch's colors and spots to send a bluff toxicity warning and avoid being eaten by predators. When monarch caterpillars hatch, they are green and tiny, only about 1/10 of an inch long, or about the size of a grain of rice. The entire purpose of the caterpillar stage is to eat, so it eats and eats until it becomes about 2 inches long, with white, black, and yellow stripes, and is ready for metamorphosis. It hangs itself upside down and becomes a leaf green chrysalis. This stage can last between 10 and 14 days. Once it is ready, it emerges as an elegant monarch butterfly, with a wingspan of 3 to 4 inches. After they emerge, they spend quite a bit of time drying out their wings and preparing for first flight. You see, during metamorphosis, bodily fluids the butterfly doesn't need once it's no longer a caterpillar will be released, so all that waste gets dumped into the pupa. Butterflies eat everything through their proboscis, which is a straw-like projection from their mouth, whether it be nectar or rotting animals. Seriously, there are butterflies who eat exclusively carrion. Luckily, the monarch butterfly loves nectar. Did you know that monarch butterflies were until recently endangered and are still threatened? Factors like deforestation, climate change, and pesticides are causing their numbers to rapidly decline. The Environmental Defense Fund says that in the last 2 decades, its numbers have dropped 90%. Their numbers are declining the most in the western US, as the damage and loss of habitat is greatest there. The monarch's range stretches from Mexico through the US and into southern Canada. Their population density is highest in the United States West Coast and especially high from the eastern half of the Great Plains to the East Coast. They are essentially extinct in the Midwest, with very scattered and struggling populations. Farming and pesticides are destroying their habitat there. In the 1990s, scientists estimated there to be around 1.2 million monarch butterflies alive in the western population, but a count in 2020 counted less than 2,000 left. Milkweed is essential for monarch butterflies' survival as a species. As I mentioned earlier, they can only lay their eggs on milkweed, and the caterpillars must only eat milkweed for some time. Pesticides are killing milkweed, and deforestation is destroying their homes, leaving them in a very unfavorable spot. However, this does not mean they are doing perfectly fine in other areas I mentioned. Their numbers are declining all over the country for the same reasons, just not to the same extent in certain areas. They're confined mostly inside the US because milkweed isn't found any further. Many organizations who are dedicated to saving this immaculate invertebrate agree that the best ways are planting more milkweed, avoiding pesticides, and many more. But we haven't gotten to the most amazing thing about this insect yet. We need to talk about its migration. The monarch butterfly performs possibly the most epic migration in the entire animal kingdom. Around the beginning of autumn, in September and October, they begin their southward migration to the southern US and Mexico. Once it becomes cold there, they hibernate until February or March. Once they emerge from hibernation, they begin the northward migration to the eastern US and Canada. This is why the final generation of monarchs of the year lives the longest. They can live for up to 9 months, while other generations of monarchs only live for up to 2 months, because the final generation must make 2 migrations. This migration isn't just any ordinary migration. Monarch butterflies must travel upwards of 3,000 miles each migration. This 1.5-inch insect travels over 3,000 miles. They're said to travel about 100 miles per day, with some even traveling up to 265 miles in one day. This massive migration usually takes around 2 months to complete. Surprisingly, monarchs migrate alone. Unlike many birds who migrate in flocks, they don't travel together. The migration is triggered by lowering temperatures and the aging of milkweed and flowers. Once this stimulus is triggered, they begin the migration on their own. It's a perilous journey, but the majority of them complete the migration. Once the journey is over, they roost, creating one of the most beautiful spectacles of the natural world. This beautiful butterfly needs our help. So if you're interested, take a look at the first links in the description to see what you can do to help. I'll see you later.